So here we are at the end of the first bimester, and I wanted to start thinking about what results we've achieved and how we can improve on them, especially for those who, as it happens every time, need a little push because they need to do a little more. So the first question is, the course is divided into 4 bimesters. So by now, you have been in Brazil taking Portuguese classes for about 2 months. That means since you've arrived here a little earlier, you've been here for 3 months. So that means that you've adjusted, you've got a life, you've got a home, you've got your everyday activities, you're used to what you're doing. And if you don't think too much about it, you'll probably keep on doing what you're doing for the remainder of the time that you're going to be here in Salvador. That may be a good thing if you're being very productive in your Portuguese learning. That's great. But if you're not being so productive, then there are things you have to think about, and think about the way that you've structured your life, and redo them so that it becomes a little more productive. There's still time. There's still about 6 months until the exam, but there isn't a lot of time. So if you're not being very productive at what you're doing, this is the time to seriously think about what you're doing and to change your attitude. So in the first 2 months, the course is structured in such a way that you will begin to understand that you can learn Portuguese and that you must learn Portuguese. Because if you don't learn Portuguese, it's very difficult to lead your everyday life, and very difficult to interact with people, and very difficult to solve everyday problems. Now, it's important for you to understand that you must learn Portuguese, otherwise you can't lead a normal life, and also that you can do it. So I hope that at this point you understand these 2 things: that you must learn it to the best of your ability, to the best of your capacity, and that you can learn it. You just have to figure out your own strategy, your own way of dealing with the language learning process. So this is called departing from the first phase, which is a phase of resistance to Portuguese, in which people are shocked, they don't understand anything, they resist to the language, even to very simple situations, even to words that are the same in English and in Portuguese, but they're just so dazzled by the whole experience of Portuguese, to an attitude of, how do I do this? And people start exploring, and they start trying different things, watching TV and going online and going to the tandem meetings, or trying to talk to people, trying to figure out ways to interact with people. This is what you should be doing by now. You should be actively seeking ways to learn Portuguese from your personal life, from your everyday life. And you should be getting some results from there. So here's where you should be now. You should be able to carry conversations in Portuguese with some difficulty, but most of the time every day you'll be talking to Brazilians. Apart from class, every day you're going to be going out to do something, either go to the beach, either go to the mall, either do something you like, and meet people and talk to people and be able to talk, in Portuguese, simple Portuguese, sometimes with mistakes, sometimes missing words and stuff like that. But most of the time you should be speaking in Portuguese. You should be able to, and you should be able to convey your thoughts in Portuguese in simple language, but you should always be able to explain what you're thinking. You should be able to watch TV, even though sometimes you don't understand what's going on. You should understand, most of the situations on TV. You should be able to go online and read the news and Do all of these everyday things that you do to interact with the world in Portuguese. So Portuguese should be most of your day by now. If it's not, it's time for you to make it. You should have by now, and the effects of that is, you should have by now a favorite Portuguese show on television, a Brazilian show on television. You should know there must be that one soap opera or that one reality show or that one show that you love and that you follow and then you watch every day and that you understand. Even if you don't understand every single word, you understand what's going on. And you can follow the show and you have fun doing that. You should get your news from a Portuguese language source. You should be making friends. You should be, if you go to church, you should be going to church and interacting with people and doing church activities. Or if you do a sport, you should be in a team with Brazilians. If you like to dance, you should be going out every weekend and dancing and meeting people. You should be close to making a good friend in Portuguese now. A Brazilian friend or a date, a girlfriend, a boyfriend. You should be venturing out in the world. You should have no difficulty in going to the supermarket or in going to the bank or in doing things like that, to the Polícia Federal. These are things, taking the bus, these are things that you should be doing by yourself, as a matter of fact, all the time. And not be afraid of doing these things. And you should be thinking in Portuguese most of the time. You should be, at this point of the game, you should be, most of the day, you should have found out ways to learn Portuguese. So by reading the news and circling words that you think are interesting and that you should learn, or by paying attention to something you've seen on YouTube or that you see on TV and writing it down. You should be able to, certainly you should be able to write a paragraph in Portuguese about your daily experiences on your journal. So this is where you should be at this point. Now, a lot of people think they have an imperfect idea of what's going on in their learning process. So for those people who haven't reached this milestone, by the end of this bimester, your instructor is going to be talking to you about it. Because it's very important that if you're not on the right track by now, that you just don't settle on underperforming. So if your instructor calls you for a meeting and talks to you about you're not doing enough, you should take that advice very, very seriously. And you should seriously try to ramp up the kind of interactions that you have with Portuguese. So you shouldn't be listening to this video in English. You should be listening to it in Portuguese, maybe twice or three times to understand everything. But you should be comfortable with a challenge. And you should be devoting most of your time to speaking Portuguese, thinking Portuguese, reading Portuguese, and trying to interact as much as you can with Brazilians. So if that's not happening, try to seek ways to more proactively learn Portuguese in your free time. That means go to all of the Poliglota meetings that you can. Take the monitoria, take the tutorial sessions. Take everything that you can, and take the moments in your free time that you're probably using English and shift everything into Portuguese, even if you don't understand everything. So for example, you may be watching a YouTube video about the weather, but suddenly you don't understand everything, but you understand the days of the week and things like that, and write down the things that you understand and the things that you want to understand, the things that catch your attention. This should be most of your day. You should be doing this 4 or 5 hours a day. And make friends. Go out. Have fun. If you like to dance, if you like sports, if you like church, if you like all these other activities, find a way to do everything that you like in Portuguese. Your interactions in English at this point should be minimal. Okay? Work on that. It's very important. There's still time to turn things around, but soon there won't be anymore. So this is the time to ramp up everything that you're doing and really get into the Portuguese mode and accelerate your learning process. Good luck.